I guess I need to first ask for your forgiveness. I'm going to have to wear my sunglasses this morning. I don't like to do that from up in front of people, but unfortunately the glare is kind of getting me this morning. The second reason is Ray Seal's standing right over there, and I know she's going to break the Kleenex out in a minute, so if I got these on, I should be okay. Chair Huntley, I see you walking in the back there. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, good morning.
Lamar, thanks for being out here today. Family, friends, thank you for joining us today for this very special occasion. A special thanks to our honored guests, to Joe, to Roxy, to Bobby, Janet, Ruth, Jerry, and the entire Caruso family, as we celebrate the naming of this magnificent sports complex in honor of an extraordinary person and your loved one, Beth Caruso. Just 1 year and 6 days ago, on September the 11th, my predecessor had the distinct privilege of opening up this complex here at this facility. As we remember those who gave the ultimate sacrifice, we also acknowledge the future of this great country and hope to honor the memory of our faithful servicemen and women by unveiling this top-notch sports field and fantastic sports complex. Today promises to have a lasting meaning, an atmosphere, I must say, of celebration. Okay, we choose this, and we know that today we all can celebrate the life of Beth Caruso. While I acknowledge this is a memorialization ceremony, it's also, as I said, a celebration of Beth's life. Today is about being inspired by Beth's selfless service. Today is about Beth's legacy and about ensuring it lives on. In fact, the way I see it, Beth Caruso is the ultimate servant. Her father served in the Guard for 41 years. Her husband Joe served in the Army for 20 years. And her son Bobby also served in the Navy. That's an all-American family. And often it's a spouse that pays the heaviest price. And for me, it's a privilege to be here and to be a part of the history being sown today. It's not often that we have a memorialization ceremony here at Fort Knox. It's even rarer in the fact that a youth sports complex is being named after an Army civilian who served on the Fort Knox Garrison team. In my opinion, the best and most professional group of Americans found anywhere in the 50 states. While most facilities on military installations are named after those who wore the uniform and served with honor, and deservedly so, there's the rare occasion when a patriot who supports our war fighters and their families is deserving of this recognition. That someone is our very own Beth Caruso. She began working with Child, Youth, and Sports Services in 1984 with the maintenance section, where she ensured the playing fields and the floors were in optimal condition. Through the years, though, she wore several different hats. At one time, she managed the scheduling of youth services and handled the bulk of administrative work for that office. She also became involved in Operation Military Kids, a program that reaches out to children affected by deployments. In 2001, Beth became the middle school and teen program manager, working at the Devers Middle School and Teen Center. In this position, she dedicated herself to providing positive outlets and activities for youth. She was obviously the right person for the job because of her legendary ability to always stay positive, regardless of the challenge at hand. She was later selected to be the Outreach Services Coordinator for the Army Community Services. In this capacity, she coordinated and implemented outreach initiatives designed to link military and civilian support services to soldiers and family members who had the greatest need. Basically, she fought to provide support for all and made it her personal mission to ensure families were well taken care of and never fell through the cracks. Perhaps the most visible way in which she showed her love and support for children was how she donated her hair to Locks of Love to provide hair pieces to children suffering from long-term hair losses because of medical problems. Everyone who knew her will tell you she took great pride in her work and that she loved life. That hallmark is what earned her the unequaled admiration of her colleagues as well as the Army families she supported. Quite simply, Beth exemplified the Army Civilian Corps creed, and strove to make a difference. That sense of spirit is contagious and serves to make us all better. Encourages us to do the same, and ultimately we should endeavor to leave the world a better place and to set the example for our children just like Beth did. This guiding principle is simple, yet powerful, and one that is important for people to learn and heed early in their life. So when you take into account Beth's contributions to FMWR, coupled with the admiration and the way that she lived her life, naming this youth and sports complex today in her honor just makes sense. And now for generations to come, Beth's memory will live on, not only within those who knew her and with those who served with her, but also with the youth who take the fields of battle here and have the opportunity to learn about Beth and her legacy. I would imagine, though, that Beth would be most proud about this place, as it serves to build wonderful memories for children that will last a lifetime. In closing, I would like to personally extend my gratitude to Beth as a soldier and father for many years of dedication to the Army families here on Fort Knox. Whether she herself realized it, all of us gathered here today know without a doubt that Beth's work toward providing her customers with a better quality of life made a direct and lasting impact on Army families. When you have people who genuinely care and understand the many sacrifices of military families like Beth, our decision to serve here as a military is affirmed every day, as we know we made the right decision when we have people like Beth leading the way. So as the garrison commander, as a soldier, as a father, as a husband, I thank Beth Caruso and celebrate her life today and her commitment to service here at Fort Knox. Truly a job well done and worthy of her a very, very high honor. Setting the gold standard, Army strong, strength starts here.
Thank you for those words, Colonel. Our next speaker is Miss Dina Reed. Ms. Reed is an Extension Specialist for 4-H Youth Development with the University of Kentucky Cooperative Extension Service. Throughout her Extension career, Ms. Reed has worked with a variety of audiences, but has come to hold a special place in her heart for the 4-H military program. As a Kentucky 4-H military liaison, Ms. Reed has the responsibility of providing support for and giving guidance to the 4-H military clubs programs at Fort Knox and Fort Campbell, as well as the Operation Military Kids Grant Program. Ms. Reed has been critical to the programs offered to youth at Fort Knox. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Dina Reed.
I did not bring my sunglasses, so I'm going to squint at you today. I apologize. Thank you. Thank you very much. All right. How they look. All right. In my former role as 4-H Youth Development Agent in Hardin County, it was my responsibility to create a partnership between the Hardin County Cooperative Extension Service and the Fort Knox CYS program. This is where my relationship with Beth Caruso began. The first time that I visited Fort Knox, Beth was my tour guide. She drove me around post, showing me the housing area, the school, the PX, the playground, the restaurants. And in doing this, her excitement in sharing her home with me was astounding. Yes, Fort Knox was her home, and she dedicated her life to it and the children that her efforts impacted. As I got to know Beth, I learned of her extensive participation not only in Kentucky 4-H, but cooperative extension in general. Not only had she represented Hardin County 4-H at the state level, but she had represented Kentucky 4-H at the national level. Beth's dedication to youth development showed through her work and her volunteerism. Her love of the outdoors and gardening was cultivated through her volunteer work with the Master Gardeners program. Beth was an expert at integrating her life's passion with her work, making it not like work at all. Her everlasting smile and positive attitude carried through in everything that she did. When the going got tough, Beth got going. Her out-of-the-box thinking gave birth to multiple programs that benefited hundreds, maybe thousands of children and CYSS staff. She was a role model for hard work, dedication, collaboration, positive thinking, creativity, and selflessness. Today's dedication is a great symbol of the impact that Fort Knox and its children has had on her life. know that she would both be honored and slightly embarrassed about the fuss being done with her today. You all know that. But today is a celebration of the woman that she was and the impact that she continues to have on many, both on and off post. Before I close, I would like to take a moment to say thank you to Joe and Roxy and Bobby for sharing Beth with us. I'm sure you know the impact that she made on you, and hopefully you have just a small glimpse of the impact that she made on those of us that were not blood relatives of her. May you find comfort in knowing about the extraordinary work that she did for youth of Fort Knox and Kentucky. Now I would like to leave you with one final thought, and the following is a segment from a dedication that I read in a family studies textbook. And when I read it, I thought of Beth. It says, "She is the bright star that brought forth this book. We have been grateful every day for the brilliance and creativity of her thinking. Her star has been a guiding light, and we have felt deeply her presence as our guardian angel as we have tried to move forward the ideas that she was the model. She taught us to be hands-on and in your face, though hopefully with a caring arm around the shoulder. We hope we are continuing to live up to her highly collaborative and rigorous standards, even without her physical presence. This is very much a continuation of her creative energy, and we hope that it is worthy of her." And I think that's what today is about. So as we move forward with today's dedication and events, I know our shining star Beth is leading us to achieve higher standards, of course, with a comforting arm around one another. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Reed. Our final remarks will be delivered by a close family friend, Mr. Thomas Novak. Mr. Novak has lived right next door to the Caruso family for over 6 years. Mr. Novak.
I'm not a speechwriter, so when they asked me to do this, I decided it was just going to come from the gut. And, you know, this right here proves that Beth was all about kids. I've known the Caruso family for about 18 years. I've lived next door to them for 6. Beth has always been there for me. Anytime we needed anything, I could always count on Beth. If my girls had a problem that they couldn't talk to me about, they always knew they could go talk to Beth. You know, Beth was all about kids. I can remember every night she'd come home from work and she'd have 3 or 4 different stories from where she was working at the youth center about different kids, the silly things they did, the crazy things they did. And, I mean, she loved it. She loved coming home and telling those stories. I mean, I don't know much more to say. You know, thank you, Beth, for everything you did for us. And this one's for you, girl.
Thank you, Mr. Novak. At this time, will Colonel Jenkins, Mr. Joe Caruso, Miss Janet Smith, Miss Roxy Hupper, and Mr. Bobby Caruso please come forward to unveil the presentation flags. The presentation plaque unveiled today by Colonel Jenkins and Miss Caruso and my apologies. The presentation plaque unveiled today by Colonel Jenkins, Mr. Caruso, and Miss Smith formally dedicates the complex as the Caruso Youth Sports and Fitness Complex. The portrait unveiled by Miss Hupper and Mr. Bobby Caruso will hang in the Devers Middle School and Teen Center in Army Community Service, serving as a consistent reminder of Beth's legacy to the Directorate, Family and Morale, Welfare, and Recreation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, the unveilings, please.